Episode 2, Single at 40 podcast. Welcome back. We're in our studio in Honolulu. So, last podcast was the first one, obviously, this one being number 2. Trying to get better. Got some notes this time, got some stuff to talk about. So, we'll jump right into it. Something we wanted to talk about was the first video we made, long form video on YouTube. We started the channel with basically some shorts and on TikTok back in October when we got the idea, October of last year. And then we went on a trip. I think it was early December for like a week, right?
Yeah.
By the way, Glenn, the producer, filmmaker's here.
Yeah,
Forgot to introduce him at the beginning. So yeah, so we started with the short form videos and just started playing around with that. And then we went on a trip, the first trip since we started the channel back last December. And got a bunch of footage. And we didn't even really have a plan on what we were going to film or what we were trying to film. Oh, did I just kick the camera?
It's all good.
Podcast mistake number 2. Anyways, so we didn't have too much of a plan when we went out that night. We just brought some cameras. We hired a cameraman, one of our friends' boyfriends, and we ran with it. So the first video, Glenn basically worked on it all through the holidays, and we put it out, I think, Christmas Day, right?
Yeah, it was Christmas Day.
Christmas Day a year ago. And so the video is called Angeles City, How to Make a Bar Girls Night, Single at 40. More like how to make the entire bars night, all the employees from doormen to waitresses to DJ, everybody there. So the video starts out, I think we're at the Fields Hotel, and I got some money in my hand, and it's like saying, like, let's go. And we hit the streets, and then we walk over to Genesis. And the video kind of gets at this cool point where you got a couple Single 40 team members. Red, he's on the mic. He actually works at Genesis. We'll talk more about him. And then Bernie starts, making it rain over the entire bar. Pretty cool scene. And then after that, we get into like the breakdown of the whole money rain. Do you remember how we even started the money rain thing? Like, obviously people have been doing it at strip clubs forever, but
yeah, I mean, I think we just thought in our head, like, wouldn't this be cool to
we saw other people do it, but obviously we've never been the ones to go throw money. And I don't know who came up with the idea, like, let's give the money to the girls and the employees and let them throw it amongst themselves. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think once we did it, the joy. I mean, people just love throwing money, I think.
No, it's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, and
so, like, to get into the mathematics of it, and the whole theme behind the video is how to make their night is, after talking to people, their salary is anywhere from 300 to 500 pesos a day. And then obviously you can buy anybody at the bar drinks, waitresses, dancers, the DJ, the doorman, anybody you want. And they get a split usually on those drinks, and anywhere from 50 to 100 pesos. So, like, talking to the girls and talking to Bernie and Red and those guys, on a decent night, they can maybe get 700-800 pesos, for the night, just off of their salary and the drinks. So then you throw the money rain into it, and we just use the number, take $275 US, which, give or take on the exchange rate's about 15,000 pesos, which is 15 stacks of 20s, which is 750 20 peso bills. So if you throw that over, just an hour period of time, it's a lot, and it looks cool and it's fun. And if a girl grabs, 30 of those bills, or, anybody, that basically doubles up their daily salary. So obviously they're all there to make money, and people seem to forget that, and we're there to have fun. So we combine the two, and that's kind of where we go. Let's talk a little bit about Bernie and Red. So we met those two guys. They're basically MC/hosts. And they were working at Genesis, and we met them the prior year on the first trip we went back right after COVID. And that was the first time we stayed at the Fields Hotel, which is an awesome little hotel that's above Sky. So we met those guys just, going into Sky. I think it might have been the first night or the second night we were there, because we stayed at Scorebirds the first night, and then we moved over to the Fields Hotel. So the second night, being the bar right below the hotel, we ended up going in there, and just from the start, those guys' customer service was like top notch. Like, they were super cool, got us a seat. We were talking to them and kind of made friends with them. And then, funny story, the next night we had a bigger entourage, maybe like, I don't know, 8-9 people. And we tried to go back there.
That's right.
And they didn't have room for us.
Yeah.
And it kind of pissed me off, because we were there the night before and we made friends with them. We spent a bunch of money. So we kind of just like walked away and was like, sorry guys, if you don't have a seat for us, and we bailed.
Yeah, because Sky's pretty small anyways.
So then I think the third night we showed up, and they had an area reserved for us with like a sign. And that's when I was like, all right, these guys are next level in their host, And ever since then, like, they've basically been our guys, and we've always stay at Fields Hotel, and we always end up going to Sky. Certain point in time, Red left and went to work at Genesis, so that kind of became the number two spot. But yeah, both of them are really really fun to party with, and they take care of us. They watch the bill for us. They make sure we're spending the money we want to spend, and they're pretty cool guys on that level.
Yeah, they definitely take care of us. I mean, obviously, as the night goes on, you drink a bunch. You could, if you don't have people watching out,
Well,
you
you,
get
you
taken
see
advantage of with the
you see
bill.
other vlogs where people talk about people padding bills and getting ripped off and whatnot, and it goes back to like one of our theories is obviously give without expectation, but if you take care of the people that are there and you're not cheap, like they'll make sure you don't get ripped off. They don't want to rip off, and I'm not saying we've never been ripped off.
No,
We don't pay
I
enough
mean,
attention to
you
care.
look back at our early trips. I mean, when we had to pay attention,
Well, yeah, we had a budget,
well, we
right?
never did either, and it would be like, at the end of the night, like, what? How much is the bill? And
Yeah, I mean, as the waitresses and the people in the bar realize you're spending money, like you got to remember they're there to make money, so they come and they're trying to get drinks, and as they should. That's the way they get paid, and it can get overwhelming at times, and you don't really know who you're buying a drink for. But if you're on a budget, I mean, my advice is take care of the host person or the waitress and explain to them your budget, and they'll help you stick to it if you take care of them as part of it.
yeah,
And I think that's where a lot of people lose sight is that they're just so worried about their budget. They don't want to get ripped off, where it's like, take care of the person controlling your tab. And if they're smart, they're going to take care of it and you'll keep coming back. So we definitely have, done that. And those guys, I mean, now they take us everywhere. They set up the bars we go to. They're part of the team. They film with us. So they've been a huge asset to Single at 40.
yeah. I don't think I mean, I really. I mean, at the end of the night, we're not over here trying to figure out the bill anymore as much as we used to. So
I mean, Bernie's the man. He'll collect the bill and like he'll send me a picture on WhatsApp at the end of the night. Pay it the next day or whatnot. And
yeah,
I know he's got our best interest in mind because we take care of him and he takes care of us. It's a give relationship. So those guys, blessed to have those guys as part of our team. Love those guys. We even ended up taking them on some trips with us. They've been to Boracay and El Nido. We'll get into that in another podcast on some of our island hopping trips. So that was our first video. And the crazy thing about our first video is we were studying a lot about YouTube and how to be successful on it. And a lot of people tell you like you're going to suck at first, which we did, just how bad we suck at this podcast, but just to keep going and keep practicing and just improve, as you go. So the weird phenomenon with our first video is that thing went fucking huge. Like, I don't know
yeah.
what like,
I
it's
mean,
got like 50,000 views.
yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it's that money range scene. I mean, it's different. It's not something that you see, in places like Angela City or even in Thailand or whatever. But
Yeah, I think it was kind of like first to the market, right? Like nobody films inside the bar. They don't allow people to film inside the bar because,
yeah,
privacy and whatnot. So,
yeah. I mean, we were always kind of hesitant, but I think it's like, I mean, what we talked about. I mean, once you kind of take care of people and I mean, it kind of all goes out the window. And I mean, we always double check and make sure people, if you don't want to be in this thing, like don't stand where the money
yeah, we're
is.
not trying to put anybody on film in the bar, including other customers that don't want to be filmed.
Yeah,
And the girls have all learned that we're there to film, and if they don't want to be a part of it, they're more than welcome to step out. But so yeah, that video has got more views than any of our other videos. We've never made one
yeah,
that's hit that level, which is completely reverse in the world of YouTube. Usually, as you keep making videos, you get more and more views as you go on. So that was awesome in the fact it was huge, but it was also kind of concerning for us as we kept making videos and they weren't getting the hits that one did. But like Glenn said, it was pretty much a rare look inside bars that nobody has really put out on YouTube. There's some small content and there's a lot of hidden camera shit, which is bullshit. I would never hide a camera and go film people. That's just shady in my opinion. But yeah, so that was the first video.
yeah. It's kind of discouraging because it's like I mean, personally, I feel like I've made better stuff over the last year, but I mean, obviously that video did well, and so
It's a cool video. So go check it out if you haven't. Again, it's called Angela City, Philippines, How to Make a Bar Girls Night Single at 40. It's at the very bottom of our YouTube long forms if you go search for it. And it's a cool video. Check it out. So the second video we made, we titled it, Angela City, Philippines, Rare Look Inside Angela City's Bar on Walking Street, Single at 40. And this one, it's shot at Sky Bar, the bar that those guys worked at, or Bernie still works at, and it's right below. You start to recognize a lot of the same girls that are in our videos because that's where we met a lot of the single 40 angels or girls that work at Sky. And they've always been such good hostesses for us that now we take them out and go to all the different bar hopping, and they're the stars of our channel. Honestly, like they're the ones that make it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, they've embraced it. I mean, they want to be part of it. Most of them had those the HI to PI tattoos, like, and this is all like happened organically. Like, obviously, like we take care of them, and but it's, I mean, as the channel's grown, I mean, more people want to be part of it. You know, and we're not over here, asking.
Well, that's the exciting part is, you would think a lot of these girls don't want to be filmed, but when they see what we're filming and how Glenn makes them look in the video, we're not making anybody look bad. We're just partying and having a good time. Like now, all these girls are joining us and having a great time. And we had our friends that we already were taking to the bars with us. So our entourage has grown. And yeah, and then we got the term single 40 angels. So we've got a bunch of angels and they're awesome. So in that video, Glenn does a voiceover and he kind of explains what we were talking about the first video about taking care of people. And if you watch the video, you can see how happy everyone is and everyone's having a good time. And the voiceover, he makes it pretty clear. If you're not there to spend money, like, you probably shouldn't be there. And like and he says, we respect everyone's budget. We totally understand that. But the more you spend, the right way, the more fun you're going to have. And that's the entertainment district. You're there to have fun, and those people are there to make sure you have fun, but you got to do your part and pay them, right?
Definitely.
So those are the first two videos that we made. So go check them out. So because of the connection with the employees, and that's kind of where we started filming, and that's where we have the most fun. You got Sky and Genesis are like our two favorite bars, if you will. But don't get me wrong, we have a bunch of other bars we like. We know the staff that we have a lot of fun with. Some of the angels come from Las Vegas, and some of them come from the Elite Bar. And then you always have Atlantis and Dollhouse, which are like the classics. And for us, that's kind of where we started. So we have this Hawaii connection to the ownership group, the Dollhouse group that owns those bars. So when I first went, I went with friends of the ownership of those bars, and so that's where I first cut my teeth, if you will, in Angeles, and that's where we were partying a bunch early on.
Yeah, I think we spent
Angeles,
most of our time at Atlantis. I want to say the first couple trips. It's like we didn't go anywhere else.
yeah, Atlantis. I mean, the setup's great. It's like a Western style bar slash club, and it's huge. Tons of people working there, and it's a lot of fun. And then obviously Dollhouse is right next door, and that one's got the two stories, kind of like Atlantis does, and those are really fun places to party. And then Las Vegas is one of our favorites. It's right off the strip. Everyone's been there, and that one's got a really cool big square layout where it's pretty comfortable, and they got a lot of dance shows that are pretty cool. And there's 4 dancers there that became single at 40 Angels, and you see them in our videos. They're the ones that are always doing the choreographed dances or wearing jerseys that we buy for them. So they're a big part of our team as well. So to jump over to like the hotels, so when we first started going, like my very first trip, I stayed at the Wild Orchid, and then they took me over to a party that was at Scorebirds, and that's when I found out that the guys I were with knew the owner of Scorebirds, and I was like blown away. Like, why are we staying at the Wild Orchid when you could stay here? Because the Scorebirds has a cool setup with that pool and stage, and so that kind of became the home base of where we would stay. And over time, we stayed at, Wild Orchid, the Orchid Inn. We've checked out ABC, which is a really nice, cool property. It's on the higher end of expenses. The reason I don't like that place is the distance away from Walking Street. It's not the longest walk, and they have a shuttle, and you can take trikes, but we kind of like being closer, especially at the end of the night. It's nice to just go in and crash.
Yeah, definitely.
So then in comes Fields Hotel. And so the funny story behind that one is, it used to be called Dollhouse Hotel, and that Dollhouse Group ownership used to own it. And whatever happened with that, they passed it on or sold it or did whatever they did. But I remember Mikey telling me that it had a roof on the bar. I'm sorry, a pool on the roof. And during COVID, when we couldn't go, one thing me and Glenn did a bunch of is we would do the Google Earth walk up and down the street.
That's right.
To like reminisce and like think about when can we go back. And one day I remembered Mikey saying that it had a rooftop pool. So I Googled Earth it, and sure enough, there's a rooftop pool. And I got this idea. I went on the website and I realized like there's not a lot of rooms there. Like maybe if we rented the whole hotel, we could have that pool to ourselves. And that's kind of how it started. And so I started emailing the manager, Amy, who's awesome, one of the coolest people in the Philippines. So I started messaging her and basically told her when we had our trip planned right after COVID, we wanted to rent the whole thing. And once I got to meet her, it was funny because she already knew Mikey, which I didn't know. So when we showed up, she instantly knew Mikey. And then she told me she thought I was full of shit when I was emailing her about renting out the whole hotel. And we did. So we've been staying there ever since. And
What
that's just been
what's
home base.
what would like the room cost? Just so people would know, because it wasn't too bad, right?
No, I want to say it's like around $60 to $65 US per room, and there's 6 rooms. But I mean, we have such a big group usually, and we don't have a problem filling the rooms. I mean, our group's so big now, we got to rent, other rooms at other hotels. And unfortunately, Amy has now started working over at the Carousel Hotel, which is brand new. So our next trip, we're going to follow Amy because Amy is the best host when it comes to the hotel industry in the Philippines, in my opinion. So we're going to follow her over there and check it out. It's a bigger hotel and it's got 13 rooms, which we kind of need now anyways, because our entourage has gotten so much bigger. And if we can provide a room for some of the people that cruise with us, it just makes it easier and more fun for everybody. So that's the hotels that we like to stay at. But if you have questions or want to know more about any of the places we've stayed, ask in the comments. We got some cool feedback on the first podcast. We didn't really get any questions, so please ask us some questions. Even the bars that we like to go to or other bars, we've pretty much been to every one.
Yeah, or
Uh,
even just traveling in general. There's a lot of people that like to go to AC for a couple nights and then go island hopping or whatever, which, obviously we do too. So, I mean, I think it's gone to the point where we've traveled there, at least even in Manila, when we stay, Conrad or whatever, we kind of have an idea. So,
So
but
no, that's a great point. That's kind of how we construct our trips. Is we'll fly in and either stay one night in Manila or head straight to Angeles, and then we spend anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 nights there, and then we go over to Clark Airport and we fly out to a island destination like Boracay, El Nido, or etc. And the next podcast we'll get into Boracay and El Nido and the differences of those two places. Boracay is obviously one of my favorites. It's a cool island, but that's kind of how we've always based our trips. Our next trip coming up is going to be a little different. We're going to fly into Manila and then go to Boracay for the Christmas holiday and then end our trip in Angeles. We've never done that before, so that's going to be an interesting way of doing it. I'm kind of seeing how we play that one out. But Angeles takes a lot out of you when you party hard there for a couple nights, and it's kind of good to get away and go relax in a
yeah, it's definitely rough.
beautiful
It's hard to
island.
recover.
So over time, we have made a bunch of videos. We've got one in Atlantis. We've got, obviously one in Vegas, Sensation Bar, Elite Bar. So if there's a place you would like to see the inside of, we can go see if we can film there. The process is we send Bernie and Red to go talk to management and see if they're willing to let us film. And then if they are, we set the night up and we go party with the staff there and try to make the bar,
Yeah,
look as good as it
it's been
can.
pretty cool because Bernie and Red will go talk and to bars, and most of them will watch our channel and see what we're doing. So I think that's why we get a lot of positive feedback with filming inside those places, because we're not talking about stuff that we shouldn't be talking about or doing, and it's just enjoying the night and having a good time. So
Yeah, and when we show up with 30, 40 people, we turn the bar into a freaking party. And it's funny too because you'll have other patrons and customers that are there, and they either go two of one ways. Either they get up and leave because we take it over, or they join us. And we love it when they join us. I mean, we start giving them 20s to throw, buying them drinks, and just everyone's invited.
yeah, like
So
those two guys we met, they randomly saw us walking out of Elite and going into Genesis last trip or two
yeah,
trips
yeah, that
ago,
was awesome.
and I told them like, you guys should come with us. So
Yeah, they literally recognized Glenn as we were coming out of Elite, and they're here, the guy from Single at 40, and
I was
then
like, what?
yeah, it was pretty cool. And I was like, hey guys, come join us. And I think we showed them a pretty cool night. And
Yeah,
anytime any customer's there and joins our party or wants to, like, always open arms, like, come on, let's do it, Start buying them drinks, put them on our tab, and do the money rain, and it's a good
it's
time.
always fun.
And I realize some people don't want to be on film, so that they take off, and respect to them. We're not going to put anyone on film that doesn't want to be on film. So anybody that wants to check out our videos, if you want to know more about them, put it in the comments for the podcast. When we first started making them, I mean, obviously we didn't know what we were doing, and a lot of them don't have a lot of commentary, and it was just kind of filming and Glenn was putting cool clips together with music and just making stuff we enjoy watching. So if you want to go back and look at any of our videos and you want more dialogue or you want to understand it better, what we were up to, or even the bar's name, just put it in the comments and we'll, gladly do a podcast and address it. Or any of the, people that work on our team, we got cameramen, Bernie and Red, any of the angels. If you're interested in knowing more about them, we want to do some podcasting when we're there and interview some people. So if there's somebody you see, like point them out, like they're probably more than happy to jump on the podcast with us and tell you their experience and whatnot. So we want to be as interactive as we can with our audience as we try to grow it and move our movement forward. And we talked about the principles and the mission statement last time, and so that's collaboration and working with other people is something we want to do, and also push forward all of the people that are on our team, and we're pushing all them to start their own social medias. And there's a lot of talented girls that party with us, that are dancers and whatnot. And obviously Bernie and Red's a big time b-boy break dancer, as we talked about in the last film. So anything you want to know or anything you want us to add, like Glenn said, the travel side of things, the next podcast we're kind of planning out now to do the Boracay versus El Nido, the pros and cons, and what we like about each, what we don't like about each. Another podcast we're going to work on is Thailand versus the Philippines. We recently went to Thailand, had a great time there. We just put a video out about it. Check it out. It's our newest one. That's just the first night in Bangkok. So we'll go over that in another podcast. But other than that, that's what we got for today. We're on all the social media forums as Single at 40, TikTok, YouTube, obviously, Facebook. Check them all out. X, we're on Twitter too, and it's all the different content we make. But however you like to consume content, check them out and hit us up on any of them with questions or ideas or feedback or what you think we can do better. Other than that, you got any more, Glenn?
No, I'm all good, man.
Thanks again for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it, and next week hopefully we'll get podcast 3 going and we'll talk some El Nido and Boracay and see where we go with it. Let's go. Thanks.